Welcome. Good afternoon, good morning, good night, wherever you are. It's a pleasure to have you here. Welcome to our program, Consciousness in Evolution, a project from a Reapprendation International, a conscientiocentric institution dedicated to re-education and personal growth. You are going to find our page, Reapprendência International, at YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Today, we are going to talk about multidimensionality, how one could define multidimensionality. Balancing everyday life is already challenging enough. So, how could one divide his attention between the intraphysical and the extraphysical dimensions? Our is energetic, and we should be aware about this fact. In other words, qualifying our thoughts and emotions might lead to a healthier life so that developing this ability may accelerate human evolution. Our guests today are instructors Fabiana Cerato and Claudia Adel. Claudia Adel is a chemical engineer and English teacher. She's also a conscienciology volunteer and teacher since 2009 and also a mother of a son. Welcome, Claudia. And we also have Fabiana Cerato, who is graduated in architecture, specialized in project and planning building, positive psychology, didactics, and methodology. She has been a researcher and conscienciology instructor since 1997. She is also a mother of two daughters, an entrepreneur, interpreter, and writer. So, welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Okay, so now, Anna, we are going to share the slides. I'll be going to start with the beginning, which is our flyer, and saying that once more, it's a great opportunity to be here, and let's hope you enjoy to debate about the multidimensionality in everyday life. For us, before we start, I would like just to present briefly Reaprendentia, which is our institution, the institution who is inviting me and instructor Claudia to be here now. Reaprendencia is a non-profit organization specialized in conscienciology and education. Reaprendencia offers classes, cultural and scientific events on a few topics. First topic is re-education, teachers formation, personal growth and development, as our hostess mentioned before, paranormal phenomena, and energetic balance and techniques in parapedagogy. We will be discussing today about a few of those topics.
Yes. So we were already introduced by Anna. Thank you, Anna, and thank you everybody that is watching us today. To start, we have to mention the principle of disbelief. So do not believe in anything that you are going to hear, you are going to see in this webinar. Experiment. Have your own experience and reflect on them, okay?
Yes, because if we don't reflect, we have just experimentation, we miss the opportunity to compare and to grow from that experience. So this is one of the most important pillars of everything we present here in not only today, but everything we have been presenting, the pillar of disbelief.
Yes. So today our theme is multidimensionality. What is multidimensionality? First of all, I'd like to tell us about the two ways that we can live our life. We can live our life monodimensionality, when we just focus on the things that we have to do, and we go around the clock. So everybody has normally a lot of things to do daily. We have work, we have family, we have gymnastic, whatever we have to do. When we focus only on the activity by itself without perceiving what surrounds us, we live in a monodimensionality. On the other hand, if we do our tasks like we have here in the pictures, we can work in a field and at the same time pay attention in the nature. We are experience the multidimensionality. And it is about this that we are going to deep in a little bit more in our presentation today. So, multidimensionality is a natural condition inherent to the human being to live on a daily basis, acting at the same time, conscious or unconscious. That means it doesn't matter if we are aware about what is surrounding us, but even this, the multidimensionality is present in our daily life in any existential dimensions.
Yes, it's interesting. The interesting point here, Instructor Claudia, is that most of the times, I would say, perhaps I might risk saying that 95 or even more, 99% of the population of this planet do not experience the multidimensionality from a conscious way. Usually,
Yes.
From an unconscious way. And what we want with this webinar today is exactly to wide open, to expand how we experience and then offer the possibility for you to experience in a more conscious way.
Yes. What are some synonyms or other ways? Because probably we have already heard about multidimensionality, but perhaps we heard it with another name, like extra-physicality, multidimensional philosophy, parapsychic philosophy, paraperceptibility. These are some synonyms that we have for multidimensionality.
And now an important point is for us to experience the multidimensionality, it's important to realize that our brain is much more than physical. Our brain has capacities that perhaps we are not even aware of those capacities. What we are used to with this brain is actions and habits. No, we know that we can act, we can think, we can perceive, we can practice some habits, starting from the interpretation of life, and then the interpretation we have from life, it will generate some effects. But our brain has much more, any more capacities. So our brain has sensory areas. And in the absence of external stimulus, the sensory areas, they are still active. Also, the brain processes the emotions of the limbic system, which is the system that is related with the emotion perception. And another important area of our brain is the frontal lobe. It is the area that processes, that interprets, that analyzes, that communicates. So our brain has enormous capacities. And also the communication, understanding of space, perceiving the reality, all those capacities, they are connected with our physical brain and also with our non-physical brain. Whenever we experience multidimensionality, we connect our physical brain and expand and start to perceive other variations, other possibilities around us.
So, Fafa, as you explained it, so is the brain related to multidimensionality? Could you
Yes.
explain this for us?
Yes, it's a good question, Claudia. It's a good question. I mean, we are talking about multidimensionality, right? What's the relationship between brain and multidimensionality? The relationship is here, is the fact that once we are self-aware about the condition of acting lucid and constant in all the existential dimensions, we can be more active. So the brain is one of the most important parts of our body in terms of experiencing the multidimensionality, perceiving what is non-physical. But the first step is be aware that other dimensions, they exist. So therefore the brain has an important role on being aware.
Okay, and let's continue seeing how do I experiment the multidimensional life? So, Fabiana?
Yes, it's interesting because we can experience multidimensional life as a beginners or in a more consolidated way. What is the difference? When we start right now, for example, let's say it's the first time you are arriving here with us, getting in touch with a few of those concepts, and you are interested on experience the multidimensional life. So you will start as a beginner. You will start step by step. We are going to present a few pillars that are connecting our life from the physical dimension into non-physical dimension. So once you experience those pillars, those 7 items that we are going to present, you are a beginner. After a few years practicing dealing with all this, you will become more veteran. You will experience multidimensionality from a more consolidated point of view.
Just a question, Fabiana. I understand that we experience the world using our 5 senses, right? And using our nervous system. So, which kind of system do we need to use whenever we want to experiment a multidimensional life?
Well, it's a good question and also a tricky question. You can complement, Anna, but I would like to expand from that question and say that of course, we have the sympathetic and parasympathetic system, but I would like to expand more, starting from the brain and our entire body, because sometimes our other bodies, non-physical bodies, they will be in contact with the multidimensional life. So we will be feeling signs and signals in all our physical body, not only perceiving through just one system. There are other systems that will be acting together on experiencing multidimensional life. But for example, let's say I am talking with you right now, and then suddenly I start to cry. I will not know if this is physical or perhaps not physical. I will have to think deeper. Is this physical or is this related with ectoplasmy? Because ectoplasmy is not only physical, but connects us with the physical. By the way, there is a webinar to talk about this, right? So let's move on, and then we will dive in more specific into what Anna asked. So what we want now is invite you to participate and invite you to open yourself to experience this multidimensional life. Once we do this, I just want to reinforce, as we reinforced before, we are talking about a system. Our body is a system, no, although we have many different systems, even inside our physical body. But whenever we think about multidimensional life, we are talking about a system, all connected. And open ourselves for this reality is open ourselves for a different possibility, a different perception, using all the systems, physical and non-physical. That's why we have that image right there. It's like a machine, everything working together.
So, Fabiana, what you mean with this is that we can do our intraphysical tasks, and it's one system which everything happens at the same time. Is that the
Exactly.
intraphysical? We have what we see, and also the multidimensionality that sometimes we do not see very clearly. Oh, very interesting.
Mhm.
So let's continue. The multidimensionality in everyday life, connecting, as we explained before, our life and at the multidimensional attention. As we said, we are going to do a task, we are going to work, we are going to drive, and at the same time, we will be aware of the surroundings. And let's see how can we, what is involved in this engine that we saw before. First, the self-knowledge, the self-perception, and the healthy recycling habits. Two, energetic connections, assimilations, and disassimilations of energies. Three, cycle of reflection, criticism, discernment, detailed perceptions. Four, absence of gross, toxic, extraphysical, and intraphysical interference. Can you continue, Fabiana, please?
Yes. Apart from there, we can also use item 5, 6, and 7, which are experiencing phenomena, experience energetic techniques, and energetic looseness, emotional and mental dexterity. So we are going to dive in one by one because so far we defined multidimensionality. We show that multidimensionality is connected with our physical life through engines, through a system. And now we are going to dive into those 7 proposals that we bring here for you, especially those who are arriving here for the first time, for you to embrace multidimensionality in everyday life. So let's move on to the first pillar, the first item. The most important here is self-knowledge. I mean, we all know, right, Claudia, that self-knowledge is important. We don't need
Very,
to,
very important.
right? We don't need to go out to a multidimensionality. Without self-knowledge, we don't do much because we are actually what we interpret from our life. And the self-knowledge is the self-perception. And once we have these good habits, we can roll the sleeves and then we start to develop healthy recycling habits. This means we start to change more and more because then we start to understand how we work. No, we dive into ourselves and we start to think, well, I don't want to act like this. I don't want to be more like this. I want to be better. And all those possibilities, the self-knowledge will help us once we invest. So investing in self-knowledge is designing efforts to study yourself in areas that made your personality, developing a deep understanding of your own universe, of who you are, what you do, what is important, your values, your principles, identifying qualities, abilities, and goals in life. Well, it is the same as saying it's diving into a huge universe of possibilities because ourselves, our micro universe, it's much, much bigger and much more interesting than the universe per se. So This is also a say from Socrates. You see Socrates from 500s, no, before Christ, long time ago. He would already highlight that. Know thyself, right? So this is what we propose as a first step to connect with multidimensionality, because this self-aware will go together with energies and other aspects that we are going to talk here, like the second one, right, Claudia?
Yeah, let's see our energetic connections. So, our life is energetic. Every time we are exchanging energies with the environment, with the other people, with other animal, and it happens independent of our will and if we are aware or not. And in these energetic connections, we may be assimilated. We have assimilations with the energy of the other people or the environment, and also the assimilations of these energies. So, in this case, we may suffer the positive or the negative effects of the bioenergetic changes. Okay, so the energies affect us every day. We can improve our energetic perceptions. It depends only on us, only on our will. And how do you deal with your energies? Have you ever thought about this? Paid attention on the nature, on the pets. Pets are also good source of good energies in everyday life. How do you deal with the energies?
Yeah, pets are good energetic readers, right? They read the energy much better than ourselves sometimes. And just to elaborate on what you mentioned, Claudia, it's important to be aware. That's why we presented our brain before at the beginning, because our brain has this capacity to map and to master the energies. Now we are going to talk about signals, energetic signals that will help us to perceive more and to understand more those energetic connections. As Claudia mentioned, assimilations and de-assimilations, which is exactly in the picture number one. Two people are talking and they are assimilating and de-assimilating all the time. They are connecting, exchanging energies all the time. No? So bioenergies and energies are key to life. If we don't understand, we will go in life suffering all the effects. No? For example, you are walking and then suddenly you meet a friend, and then a friend says, oh, it's great meeting you. And then you talk with her, and after 2 minutes, you want to go back home and sleep because you have a huge headache. What happened? Energetic connection, one assimilation. Since you did not perceive, you were not able to help yourself and balance your own energies, right? This is one example. So another important point, I think.
Hey guys, we have a question. Eliane is asking, how could a person deal with a multidimensionality if this person is afraid of of extraphysical consciousness? So that is a good question.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
It is a very good question. So welcome aboard, first of all, right? Baby steps, step by step, right? So first, use your brain on your favor. Use your brain helping you to be aware that other dimensions are a reality. Experience other dimensions. And little by little, you will be able to deal with all the fears you have. Among the fears you have, this fear of extra physical consciousness, because we are all people. We are just without physical body, but we are all people with physical or without a physical body.
Yes.
Claudia, would you like to mention anything?
Yes, two things. This that with the soft knowledge, you can also research and try to understand why you are afraid of extra physical consciousness. And it's a possibility. And also what you said, that is the multidimensionality involves more than only extra physical consciousness, because maybe we focus this. I don't know if it's because in the society we have some movies or some other advertisements, or I don't know, the culture, that we get afraid of extra physical consciousness. I grew up in this atmosphere where we were told, we learned that the extra physical consciousnesses, they wanted to hunt us. They wanted to to do
Harm us,
to harm us. And
right?
later on, I started to understand more. I started to not only self-research, but also research about this, and the things starting to become better. I started to lose this fear, and I think it's a way, it's a path also.
It's possible. So, what you are saying is invest on pillar number one, self-research. Self-research
Yes.
yourself. Sometimes, when we start to self-research ourselves, we will perceive that we need psychotherapy, psychology, or other sorts of therapies to help us to dive more into self-research. But perhaps start understanding that better, right?
So, Keliani, we hope we answered, but if it's still any question, please ask again. Thank you for your question. So,
Okay, now
let's
the
continue.
pillar the
Yes,
pillar
let's continue
number
for the next one, please.
okay. The pillar number three is the cycle of reflection, criticism, and discernment. This is totally connected with the last question and totally connected with pillar number one. If you connect reflection, criticism, and discernment with self-research, you will start to perceive more details. And once you develop this habit of perceiving details, you will dive into multidimensionality as well. So, I think, therefore I am is a quote from René Descartes. So, we think, we can also say, we think, therefore we evocate. We are what we think. So, once we start to pay attention on that, once we start to develop more discernment, once we start to analyzing more the details, we will see that we can connect and use there and profit from there in order to connect with multidimensionality. And then another point is the pillar number four, which is the absence of gross, toxic, and extra-physical and intra-physical interference. Since we talked just a few minutes ago about extra-physical interference, how we identify? We identify due to what Claudia mentioned before, analyzing the energy on your surroundings. Perceive what is happening around you. Use the limbic system. Remember, we talked about the limbic systems, the emotions. So perceive that you had a sudden change, sudden emotion change. Sometimes you want to cry. Sometimes you are out of nothing, very unhappy. What is the relationship between those changes in your perception and in your limbic systems? What is the relationship between that and the multidimensionalities? This might be totally related, right? So once you identify that, you can also identify the toxics, the intrusion, the analyze the personal environment degradation. And Claudia, we have the possibility, right? We can either help or sink together, right? So
Yes,
we can
yes,
start crying together or we can do something about it. What do you
yes.
think we should do, Claudia? Option number one, help or sink together and cry together?
I prefer help, but
Good.
I admit that sometimes I sink together. So I am not aware. And
Yes.
I see that sometimes, depending on the environment where you live and depending on your situation, you get used to these pathological energies. And once you try to work on your health, you miss these pathological energies. And I think it is also a possibility that we must be aware, no? Because we want to help, not to sink.
Yes, you remind me something, Claudia. Thank you for saying that because sometimes we can't sink. No, I wrote an ebook. It's on Amazon about domestic violence, in which I tell my history. No, in the history of the environment I was living as a child. And sometimes we think the craziness, the conflicts every day, they are part of who we are. So we are so used, as Claudia mentioned, with the gross and toxic and all the extra physical and intraphysical interference that we think life is like that. But we can overcome that with self research. We can get better with the contact with multidimensionality, trusting, developing our self esteem. And little by little, we will not be sinking and we will be able to help more ourselves and others.
Yes. And the next is experiencing phenomena. We may try to develop the out of the body experience projections, also work on the synchronicities, because sometimes no, nothing happens out of the blue without any reason. Okay, and if we pay attention on the synchronicities, we are going to have some good information. And also the insights, because when we are a little bit more calm, when we calm down, when we pay attention in the environment, we may have some thoughts that we hadn't seen before to solve a problem, or if we are trying to do something and we are not getting the answers, maybe we have also these insights, but we must be aware of this, okay?
Yes, I just want to contribute that experiencing phenomena, no, we are talking about non-physical phenomena. They end up being a reality once you are in that position, once you are not beginner anymore, once you start to consolidate yourself and interconnect
Okay.
your physical and your multidimensional life. So you will have that much more often. We can see there is a lady out of the body in the first image up there. And this is normal. We just go to sleep, work with energies, go out of the body. It's a normal reality that we can experience every day once we connect.
And Fafa, I remember that I heard sometimes some friends that they even didn't know about these explanations about, but they had already this experience of out of the body experiences. And
Yes.
this is very interesting because at the first time you may be surprised or have another reaction. And you see that it's possible also for a beginner to have this experience.
Exactly. This goes into that we mentioned at the beginning, Claudia,
Yes,
experiencing the multidimensionality in an
yes,
unconscious way. No.
yes, yes.
So the multidimensionality is around us, no? And if we are not acquainted, if we are not aware, it's still here, no? It's
It's
not going to
better,
go away because
yes.
we don't perceive, right?
Yes, it's better if get aware to take advantage of these situations.
Exactly. This is what we want to profit from there.
Yes.
I would dare to say that it's just like when you have like a problem with your eyes, and then you cannot see well, and you go to the ophthalmologist and you get glasses, and then you discover a completely new road.
Yes.
Everything was there before. It's just you that wasn't aware, right?
Good example.
Uh-huh.
Good.
Very
Yes.
good example. Exactly. So new glasses. We wish, right? New glasses for everybody. It's good. Very good
Yes.
example.
Okay, and also using energetic techniques, the Vieira, the researcher Vieira, wrote this book, Projectology, where we have many techniques which we can practice to movement our energies and having this experience with multidimensional. We can install the vibrational state. Okay, here we have some examples where we can do a circulation of the energies from the top of our head until our feet. Then we continue the movement until we get the vibrational state. And then we work with the sterilization and the absorption. And also when we work with the energies on the palm of our hands, that we can make this field. Okay, they are good exercise. You can also try this now. If you start, we have the palm chakras. If you start to exteriorize energy from one palm of your hand to the other, we are observing that it's going to form a field, and the field tends to grow. Okay, it's a good exercise to feel the energies if you have never tried before.
Yes, I think it's a good hint, Claudia. If you are getting in touch with us, try that. How it works is just placing your will, focus your attention on the palms of your hand. You just concentrate. You don't need to look. You just think about the palm of your hand. And with your will, you exteriorize energies, thinking like this: I want to exteriorize energies from the palm of my hand from one into another. With these thoughts, you will see that eventually, no, even if you are a beginner, eventually you will be able to feel this sort of mini field like the picture is showing, no? So it's like there is something, some glue or something connecting both hands. This is a very nice energetic technique for us to get in touch with energies for the first time, or perhaps to remember that. Because as we mentioned in the pillar number 2, our life is energetic. And if we are not aware of all the techniques, we lose the opportunity of profit from so many good possibilities.
Yes.
Remember that example I gave? I was walking and then I met a friend. No, so let's suppose you were walking, you met a friend. If the friend is drainated with energy, this friend will absorb your energies. But if you are aware, you can do that. You can exteriorize your energies, you can circulate your energies, and both will be balanced in terms of energy. This imbalance will not need to happen anymore. Therefore, let's use our brain, our physical brain, and all the other energetic techniques. Just to
Okay.
finish this pillar is important to reinforce. Claudia mentioned the book Projectology. It was written by Structure Vieira, and he condensed all the techniques in more than 5,000 different books about out of the body projection. So it's an interesting book, also free for download. And if Anna could paste it, it will be interesting, for those who are interested to browse this book and to read a few sessions.
Okay.
Okay, then we are now arriving into the pillar number 7. The pillar number 7, as we mentioned before, it's a connection between emotional and mental dexterity. So how we do? What is the difference between experiencing and not experiencing? Apparently, you see the image, there is no difference, right? You see people writing in the park, people studying and reading in the park, a mom who is washing her clothes and laughing with the baby. But actually, we can do all that and absorb good energy and profit from good energy, and at the same time deal with energy. For example, in that park, people are absorbing immanent energy, either lucid or not, either conscious or not. So this looseness happens when we start to deal more with energies, when we start to deal more with those exercises we showed before, we start to use them on our favor. Then we develop this dexterity in terms of mental and emotion as well. So we profit from the best emotions, the best feelings, the best sensations. And then as we become more, we develop more empathy. We end up becoming more empathetic, So this is results from all these connections. That's why we have that picture here. Everything is connected. All the dots, they are connected, right, Claudia? There is no
Yes.
dots out of the place. We can connect everything, intraphysical and extraphysical.
And the extraphysical. Yes, all the time. All the
Yes.
time.
And a good example of that is this image here, right? And then we can go back. I just remember the images. Claudia, could you talk a little bit about this image?
Yes, because sometimes we may think that to connect to multidimensional, we need to be doing something very important, a work very, very hard. And it's not. See here, I have an example, which I was having a vacation, a trip, a vacation with my family, and we work together, exchanging our energies, and also with the nature. We have the snow, we have the immanent energy of the snow. There is a child in the picture too, because childs have good, very good energy, and a pet. So we were all together in the same place, and we were talking, we were having fun, and we were also exchanging energies at the same time.
It is interesting because here it's a picture I posted about my day to day in my office. Whenever I take care of a client, whenever I receive a client, whenever I talk with a client, we can do two types of talking. You can just chat and talk, or you can talk and send your best energies. Once you exteriorize your best energies, as Claudia mentioned, once you are having fun, exchanging energies, things, they tend to be more balanced. They tend to be better. This is how we connect physical and non-physical dimension all together. We profit from all the 7 pillars we explained before, and we place those ideas on our day by day, on our routine. Now, of course, we do have our agendas, we do have our routine day by day, but we can connect all the dimensions.
Yes.
So this also answers the question, which is how do I get from here to there? No, it's This is an interesting scene from a movie, Doctor Strange, that was launched in 2016. Probably most of you have heard about it. He was a neurosurgeon, Stephen Strange, and he learns energetic maneuvers after a career-ending car crash. And this scene here is nice because he's talking with that lady, and he's trying to convince her, telling her there is no such thing as energies and chakras and all that. He's talking with her, and then she just sent him out of the body, right? And then he comes back and he asks, what happened? What was in that tea? And then she says, just tea with honey. So that's the way it is. So we can connect the dimensions. So how do we get from here in a more consolidated way, being a beginner, studying and practicing exactly the way he did? And therefore, there are personal signals. They help us a lot, right, Claudia?
Yes, the personal signals, we have the identification, registration, and the use of these personal signals. We are going to talk about them because the signals help us to understand this puzzle of the multidimensionality, because sometimes we have some clues and we do not have all the image. But if we pay attention in these extraphysical events, parafacts, and paraphenomena around us, we may have some clues. And we are connecting the dots, as you said, Fabiana. And the signals are the warning to phenomena and perceptions to detect health or pathological patterns, okay? We can observe both. And we can identify the presence of people, they are physical or not, groups, gravitating energies, through these personal signals. And now let's see some of the signals. You may identify some that you may have, or you are learning some now. So one of these is the activation of a specific chakra, okay? So if suddenly you feel that one of your chakras are activated and it's pulsating more than the others, it's good to observe, okay? Pay attention, maybe you take note and try to see if something different happened, if that day is like the others, and try to make a connection or not. Just observe, take note, and this is your research, okay? Some tinglings, or maybe a change of temperature, maybe heat or cold, myoclonus or muscle spasm, vibration in the tympanum or other parts of the body. Some people have already told me that I have a friend that she went to a doctor because she had this vibration, and the doctors didn't find anything wrong with her, and she couldn't understand. Then once she started to work more with energies, and these signals started to modify, okay? She understood better what was happening, okay? Can you continue, please, Fabiana?
Yes. It is interesting because sometimes we don't connect physical and non-physical signs. We think that physicals, they are so matter. So sometimes when we have like item number 3, a huge change of temperature, let's say you are talking and suddenly gets very cold out of nothing, no AC on, nothing, the temperature is smooth, is the same, and out of nothing is totally cold. You don't understand where this change of temperature, this change of sensation, no, as we can perceive. In this case, in our physical body, no, but it's the genesis is a non-physical, no, so it's interesting. And as we mentioned the 5, we have also number 6, internal head contraction. It's interesting because you literally feel that there are like hands squeezing or doing some contraction in your brain, but no contraction at all. It's just a sign. It's just a sign related with these chakras, this frontal chakra, coronal chakra, the signs that are related with this area. Now, we use this area a lot to talk, to see, to think, to perceive. So it's natural having so many signs related with that area. Other energetic signs are chills in different parts of the body out of nothing. We can have that. Or an energetic shower. What is a shower? Well, a physical shower is when you turn the water and you are in the shower. But an energetic shower is similar, just made by the energy. So you feel like you received a strong shower of energy, a strong vibration came out of nothing. This is related with either change of environment, change of situation, insights, one idea you had, one expansion of idea you had. Number 9, a sudden headache without a physical cause. Remember, we talked about the connection. No, if you are not aware of energies, you talk with people, you might get a headache because they will drain your energies because you are not aware. Once you are aware, no headache at all. And then number 10, a tiredness and drowsiness without apparent cause as well. Another parapsychic and multidimensional signal. And then number 11, which is the best, right? A huge sensation of well-being, willingness in the face of a task, in the face of a new idea. This new idea motivates you out of the blue. They are all connected with personal signals. We have more than 200 personal signals. We are just bringing a few, so you can have an idea, but in the book we can find more and more personal signals. I think we have a question here. Hi, Kanako. It's great to see her here. Let me see. I think, Anna, you came here to talk about the question?
Yes, absolutely. Kanako is asking if you have a chance of experiencing a multidimensional extra-physical consciousness, if this is a natural event, and it would happen when she's ready, or more possibilities would happen if she creates them with a study and effort. So what do you think about that?
Let me see if would you like to talk, Claudia?
No, I am trying to understand better also to chance of experience. I'm going to read again.
Okay.
Chance of experience multidimensional extra-physical consciousnesses is giving naturally event happen. When I am ready, or more possibilities to experience, to create by myself with study and effort.
It seems that she's talking about the connection between us and extra-physical consciousness.
Consciousness, yes. If I am ready, or more possibilities to experience, to create by myself with study and effort.
Yes, right. In this point of a question, I think we might bring a few examples. There are even places around the planet that help you to work with energy in a self environment. We can name a few. For example, there is an institution called CAEC in south of Brazil, in Foz do Iguaçu, Iguaçu Falls. in which it's a campus that was built for us to experience more personal signals and to experience more connections with extra physical consciousness. Although this could also happen at home in a very, as you mentioned, a very natural way, right? It's just about creating the opportunity. Once you work with energies, perhaps the more you work with energies, you will tend to connect more with extra physical consciousness. Of course, all will depend if you are open to that, if you have this openness to be connecting with people that are already that or not. If you are afraid, probably you will be blocking yourself or avoiding yourself from that connection. But if you are open for that, the opportunities will be created just by the fact that you are open and embracing the extra physical exercises, the energetic techniques. Then the possibility of getting in touch with extra physical consciousness, they will happen. And also out of the body. Remember, we talked before, Claudia talked about the OBE projection, one of the pillars that we can use to contact multidimensionality. No, it's exactly popping out of the body with lucidity. Then you will be getting in touch with this extra physical environment and with people that are there as well.
Yes.
Actually, we don't need to be ready. This is a paraphysiological capacity that everybody has. But obviously, if we invest on it and if we study and we put some effort, this is going to happen in a more ostensive way or a more technical way, right? I don't know what you guys think about that.
I think exactly this, Anna. Yes, yes. And sometimes we wait too much to say, oh, I'm ready. Then now I can start working on this, or maybe assisting the other consciousness or the extra physical consciousness. And maybe we are already ready. We just didn't realize this because it's not that that thing that is impossible, that is too difficult to get to have this notion or to be prepared. I think this.
It's important point you mentioned, because the extra physicality or the multidimensionality is not there far away. It's here and starts
together.
It's all together. It starts here, with the change of a perception. But of course, Anna, just to complement what you mentioned, one thing is having an extra physical contact just par right? Just one or two contacts or popping out of the body, because it's a natural phenomenon, as you mentioned. Another thing is profit and investing from a technical point of view. Conscienciology is a technical science, so it aims to bring all these tools from a technical point of view. That's why there are labs and there are campuses around the planets that help us to develop those capacities, right? It's like running 1,000 miles. You start with 10, 20, 100, and then you end up being more expert.
Yes. I would like to invite you guys to make your final remarks, because our time is getting close.
Okay. Anna, can you finish?
Yes, I can start. This is exactly the last slide, right?
Yes,
from the dot,
To sum up.
Exactly. What we want to summarize here is, and that we present, is this capacity of balancing, committing of all the commitments of the human life and the multidimensionality. It is possible. This is, we hope you profit from everything we presented. Of course, it requires some performance. It also requires a cosmo view, and together the division of attention, as we mentioned before, the attention to the details, a level of proactivity, right? Because if you are just laying down and sleeping and doing nothing, you will not get good results, because this requires us working, and repeating. So do not give up. Just, let's say one day you practice energy and then you say, no, it's hard, I did not achieve vibrational state, I don't want anymore, it's not for me. So do not give up. Sometimes takes time, sometimes take a month, 2 months, a year, 2 years, but do not stop, refrain from the attempting of repeating all the techniques we presented here and the techniques that are presented in all the conscienciological books, as we show the projectology. And it's just to wrap it up, is what we want is you to dress, to use your multidimensional clothing, dressing yourself. The best way for you to dress yourself with elegance, beauty, and essence is wear the multidimensional outfit. So this, we want to reinforce that. And we wish you all can experience all those techniques we present here, right, Claudia?
Yes, yes, and for sure, if you don't fit very well with one technique, you try another, and you may even create your own technique. Okay, we are free to develop our techniques.
Here is just a reference, 2 books from Conscienciology, 700 Conscienciology Experience, and the Projectology. They are they are able to download for free. I also placed here my ebook that I wrote about overcoming domestic violence, and because I changed thinking patterns related with the multidimensionality self-research. So thank you all for being here with us. It was a pleasure.
Yes, thank you. And we hope to see you in 15 days. Thank you very much for this opportunity to talk about the multidimensionality. And if you still have any question, please send us.
Yes,
We are here.
we are very glad to have you all here, and thanks for joining us in this interesting topic. And obviously, you can send your questions on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. Our next live is going to be on November 20th with instructor Ulysses Schlosser. He will discuss the theme, the phenomena of cosmoconsciousness, and this is a very interesting phenomena that not a lot of people experience and have a knowledge about it. So please join us again. And thank you for joining us today, and happy evolutionary journey, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.